Hey, Queen. Welcome to the Roundtable Quarterly Symposium. I am so honored to be your instructor for the hour as I share my expertise on niche down for what. Listen, make sure you have a good writing pen and your very favorite notebook as I share my strategies and my expertise on niche marketing. Before I dive into these great strategies that I have for you today, let me introduce myself. I am your vision coach and your instructor, LaToya Early. I am an empowerment trainer, a podcast host, and a 5 times author. I help Christian female startup coaches find their message, increase their visibility, and monetize their programs through niche marketing and certification. I'm super excited because I'm celebrating 8 years in business. While I've been in entrepreneurship for probably about 15 years now, it took up until 2012 for God to finally shake me into gear and put me where He needed me to be. Not only am I celebrating 8 years of business, but I'm celebrating 6 years of full time coaching. Yes, I've been coaching full time for 6 years. I am so grateful that God has allowed me to see 6 years doing exactly what He has called me to do. Not only am I a full time coach, but I am a wife. I am a mom to three amazing young men, and I am a woman of God serving Christ through my gift of helping coaches really cultivate their call in coaching through niche marketing. So listen, that is enough about me. Let's go ahead and dive into today's training. So here's what we will discuss. What is niche marketing? I want to share with you 3 different forms of niche marketing and how to speak to your ideal client. Service versus problem. I want to share the difference between the service you offer and the specific problem you solve in your business. Narrow your niche, grow your revenue. I will share why it is extremely important that you become niche focused in your industry. So let's talk a little bit about traditional marketing. So when you first started your business, we're all aware of, traditional marketing, sharing your business of and promoting or selling your products or your services to a very general or broad audience. Well, I want to focus on niche marketing today and how niche marketing is a hyper focused and highly personalized form of marketing. It really helps you speak directly to your target audience. So instead of you creating a general or broad approach, niche marketing is a marketing strategy that focuses on a unique target audience. Again, instead of marketing to everyone or being general in your marketing, when you focus in on niche marketing, you're focusing on a specific audience. Know that while most of us are initially introduced to traditional marketing, we just learned a little bit about niche marketing. When you are in the coaching industry, and this is what I specialize in, I focus more on niche marketing for coaches. So again, traditional marketing is pretty broad and general. Niche marketing focuses on a specific audience, but niche marketing for coaches focuses on a marketing strategy that is for the ideal client. So I want to address a few fears and a few benefits of narrowing your niche. I know most of you are wondering, why do I want to really simplify my business or my client? Well, one of the fears is it may limit your income and your reach. Well, actually, a benefit of narrowing your niche is it will increase your income and it will expand your reach. It really makes you more magnetic to your ideal client. Another fear that you may have is the industry doesn't require you to be so specific. Well, know that narrowing your niche in any industry will expose you as an expert, and it then will set you apart in your industry. When you are offering a product a service or even your coaching services, you want to stand out as an expert. You want to be able to offer more than just the standard delivery and service through your company. You want to be able to stand as an expert, and you want to be able to expose your product or your services in many different ways. The best way to do that is to really identify the exact problem that you solve for your client, and of course, being specific on the type of client you serve. So let's go ahead and review three different forms of traditional marketing. Again, traditionally, we're taught your target market and your target audience work simultaneously with one another. Well, they don't. When you talk about your target market, you're talking about a general and very diverse audience. So you're not being specific towards anyone. You're just pretty much casting your net, hoping to catch a fish. When you talk about the target audience, you're being a little bit more specific. You're able to talk about the demographics and the geographics of that client or the audience or potential clients in that audience. So I want to bring your attention to three major forms of traditional marketing. Now, through coaching, I do teach the coaches 5 different ways of marketing because, again, we have to focus in on the ideal client. But for the sake of the training, I'm going to share 3 of them with you. The first form of traditional marketing is exchanging profit for product. Now, keep in mind, when I first started entrepreneurship, I was selling product. Well, the way that I would present my product, the way that I would present my business to my target market isn't the same way that you will present your service to your target audience. Right? So when you are exchanging profit for service, there's a different marketing strategy. There's a different sales technique. There's a different language. There's a different way that you deliver your information. So profit for product and profit for service are 2 totally different forms of marketing. It's 2 totally different forms of language. When you're talking about exchanging profit for service, you're speaking to a target audience, which allows you to be a little bit more specific, but you're still talking to a pool of people, hoping to connect your services to the right person. But then when you transition and you begin to exchange profit for transformation, and this is specifically for my coaches, now you're learning how to market to the ideal client. Well, marketing to the ideal client is not the same way you will market to a target market, which is general and broad, or even to the target market, or I'm sorry, the target audience, which can be specific, but not specific enough. So you want to identify how you're going to stand out in your industry. If you're exchanging profit for product, how are you going to stand out in the target market? How are you going to be able to set yourself apart from other people who are selling a similar product than you? If you are exchanging profit for service, how are you going to stand out with your target audience? How are you going to generate enough how are you going to generate enough information? How are you going to really set yourself apart when you are speaking to a pool of potential clients? And then lastly, if you are in the coaching industry and you're exchanging profit for transformation, you now have to go through a little more when it comes to marketing and remove some of the layers so that you can really learn how to speak directly to the ideal client. Well, how do you speak to the ideal client? While understand that we're talking about segmentation, right? So we're talking about when you talk about the target market, you're talking about the demographics, but you're pretty broad with the demographics and the geographics, even with the target audience. In your target audience, you're a little more specific with your demographics, but when we talk about profit for transformation, now we're talking about the ideal client and we're getting more specific in the psychographics and the behaviors. This is where you have to remove some of the layers. This is where you have to dig a little deeper. This is where you need to understand what what your ideal client is struggling with. It takes a lot more research when it comes to identifying who the ideal client is when you're exchanging profit for transformation. So keep in mind these three forms of traditional marketing as you are selling your product, as you're selling your service, or if you are operating in the coaching industry. So I want to bring to your attention the differences between the service you offer and the problem you solve. Niche marketing focuses on the problem you solve, not the service you offer. Okay? Niche marketing focuses on the problem you solve, not the service you offer. Now, why is that? In our industry, regardless of what industry you're in, there are several other people who are servicing the same service that you provide to your audience. How are you able to stand out? How are you able to stand apart? Understand that your services address a particular behavior through trained skills. Now, the problem you solve addresses the reason for the behavior through your innate ability. And so, an innate ability is something that is natural to you, is something that you were born to do. So, when you are really trying to figure out your own lane, you want to figure out what is a problem that I solve effortlessly? What is a problem that I solve that I can solve without even thinking about it through a particular service that I offer? So let me give you an example. A financial expert. A financial expert offers budgeting services to help organize their finances, to help you increase your credit score, to help you build your savings, right? What type of behaviors would reflect the need for this type of service? How about poor spending habits, no savings, and a low credit score? If you recognize those behaviors, then you'll see why the service is needed. Well, keep in mind that there are credit experts and financial experts all over the place. So, what's going to help you stand out as a financial expert? How can you stand apart? Well, let's figure out the problem that you solve. Now, the problem that you solve could be the lack mentality. The problem that you solve can be a poverty mindset. What is the root to the behavior that your client display? Niche marketing teaches you how to speak directly to the man or to the woman who has the poverty mindset or whatever their root cause is, focusing on their behaviors and the reason for their behaviors versus your services. So this is when we're talking about that whole profit for transformation. When you are speaking directly to the ideal client, you're going to have to remove some layers, right? So in removing those layers, you have to identify, what is my client currently struggling with? How can I help speak to the problem versus sharing my services? Because my services can blend in and can begin to look like other people in my industry. How can I stand out? What can I do so that I can stand out in my industry? Well, you can now begin to speak to the problem that you solve in your business. And so by doing that, we're going to get to the root of the issue. Again, as the financial expert, instead of sharing your budgeting techniques, you may want to start sharing ways on how I can change the poverty mindset. So in return, I can save more money. What problem do you solve in your business? I can download an app that can help me save, that can help me budget, that can help me increase my credit score. The question is, why should I hire you? What makes you different? So let's go ahead and jump into narrow your niche, grow your revenue. Now, this is one of my favorite outlines because it really outlines the top three major areas you need to consider in your business. I want you to ask yourself this: how are you going to advance in your industry after taking or going through this training? How are you going to take some time to focus on narrowing your niche in your business, whether or not you provide a product, whether or not you provide a service, or whether or not you are a coach? How are you going to advance and really sit down and niche down in your business? If we're going to work on your messaging, here's what I want you to ask yourself. How do you stand out in your industry, and is your message clear? Is your message clear? Is it simple? And is it specific? Keep in mind, when you are creating your messaging, you want to make sure that you are sharing not only who you are, but who you serve, what you serve, and how you serve it. Okay? When you are creating your message, you want to keep in mind who you are, who you serve, what you serve, and how you serve it. Let's use myself for an example. When I first introduced myself on the training, I introduced myself as LaToya Early. Of course, that's who I am. I am a vision coach. Who do I serve? I serve Christian female startup coaches. What do I serve them? I help them find their message, increase their visibility, and monetize their programs. How do I serve them? Through niche marketing and certification. You want your message, you want your power intro or your elevator pitch, whatever works for you. You want that first 30-second introduction to be simple, clear, and specific. Cool. Now we're going to move forward to marketing. In your marketing, who are you speaking to? Remember, we talked about the different forms of marketing: profit for product, profit for service, or profit for transformation. You have to identify which one of these areas are you marketing in. If you're marketing profit for product, then you know that you're marketing to your target market. This is a more broader, more diverse area, so you really have to be creative so that you can stand out. If you're marketing for profit for service, now you're talking about the target audience. Now, yes, it can be a lot more specific, but you still have to figure out how to stand out in the demographics. What are you going to do so that you can stand out to the people that you're called to serve in your target audience? And then lastly, the profit for transformation. We're speaking directly to the ideal client. These three different forms of marketing requires a different type of language, a different type of approach. So I want you to take the time and I want you to review, how are you speaking to your audience? What audience are you speaking to? Are you speaking to a broad audience? Are you trying to service everyone? Or are you looking to be more specific so that you can narrow your niche and grow your revenue? And then lastly, money. The more specific you become in the problem you solve and whose problem you solve, the more your revenue increases. The more your revenue increases. So here's what you want to keep in mind when it comes to money. Your offer, your program, or your product should solve a specific problem for a specific person. The more narrow you become in whose problem you're solving and the problem that you're solving. Now, keep in mind, you do want to make sure that there is a need for the specific area that you're focusing in on. My suggestion would be to go into prayer. Ask God, who does he want you to serve, and what do he want, or what problem does he want you to solve? Whatever the outcome is, don't be afraid to really grow and expand in that area. Once you've identified those two major areas, now you're able to take that information and you're able to customize your programs, you're able to customize your services, you're able to really customize your product. Here's a switch in the mindset. We're going to go value over volume. value over volume. When you begin to focus in on a specific problem and you create programs and services and products for a specific person, now we're changing the way we're viewing money, and we're changing it where we're more so seeking value over volume. Niche marketing doesn't focus on getting a lot of people. It focuses on giving a specific group of people value. While we as experts, we have great answers, we have great information, but guess what? We are not called to serve everyone. So I would like to thank each and every one of you for taking the time to join me on this amazing training on today. Again, I thank you for joining me. I thank you for allowing me to share with you my information on niche marketing. I would love to connect with each of you on social media or through email. Please don't forget to take advantage of my gift to you, the Coach My Life Volume 2 ebook anthology. This is a combination of coaching strategies through my coaching program with myself and other coaches who are a part of my program. So please make sure you take advantage of this free gift. I thank you guys for joining me, and be sure to search us on Facebook, Coach My Life, and join our Facebook group. We offer master classes, we offer coaching. It is just such a community to be a part of. If you are looking for someone to assist you or support you through everyday life, the Coach My Life book is my version of coaching in a book. So make sure you download your very own copy today. Follow me on social media. Email me if you have any questions. And again, I am your vision coach, LaToya Early. I help Christian female startup coaches. I help them find their message, and I really help them grow their coaching business. I look forward to connecting with you, and be blessed.